Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Young Professional Show. It feels so good to be back in the studio with the boys. It's been a little while since we've had the chance to catch up. There's been a lot going on. Larry has been in. Larry, where were you specifically?
I was I was in Nassau for a few days, and then we went to the Exumas a day later for a day trip, and flew back, and then Orlando the next day for shareholders for for the weekend. So all over the place.
All over the place. And Jacob and I have been in Iowa, so we've had a little time where we haven't seen each other, we haven't talked. Lucas just hopped into the studio. Lucas, how you doing, brother? We are on air right now.
Love it. I'm happy to be here. Good to see everybody.
Yes, sir. Let's go. So it's been a little while since we've caught up. So in this episode, here's what we're going to do. We have three pillars. First off, we kind of just want to catch up and talk to Larry because he was the only one that went to EXP shareholders, which, if you don't know, is a pretty big event for EXP. So I just want to see what he took away from that event. Then we're going to talk about our local market and what we've seen. And the reason this is going to be fascinating is because we're here in Arizona on the west side. Florida, we got all the way across the country. I want to see what's going on over there. And then lastly, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks and our experiences with FSBOs and expireds. Because I think it's a traditional way to build a real estate business, but not many people, at least in my circle, are doing it. And we got a story to tell about it. So without further ado, boys, let's get into this episode. Of course, let me announce real quick. We got Larry Landy in St. Petersburg, Florida. We got Jacob Buckley here in Scottsdale, Arizona with me. And of course, the man of the hour, Lucas Baghdadi. Bill Clinton knows his name. We'll always love to have him here in Scottsdale with us. So if you don't follow the show on Instagram at the underscore young professional underscore show, or have this show saved on Apple or Spotify and are subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do those things. We do appreciate that. All right. Enough bullshit. Let's get into it. Larry, how was shareholders, man? Was it a fun event?
Um, you know, yeah, it definitely was fun. I think I was ready to get home and get to work, but just being on the road for so long. But dude, I got a ton out of it. I know now why I was kind of heckling y'all to come. I can't really put my finger on it. I haven't read over my notes yet. I would say what I got out of it the most, though, is just like it's not going to blow anybody's hair back. It's just like it's really not rocket science, man. It's just consistency, and the way that I know that I'm on the path is if I'm getting a ton of losses, if I'm getting pushed back, um, if it's not really fun. You know what I mean? I'm growing. That's kind of what does that make any sense?
Dude, it
Yeah.
makes it makes perfect sense because we go to quite a few events, whether it be Tom Ferry or an event that EXP is putting on, and you're not necessarily going there to get this golden nugget of information. You might find something that you can implement in your business the next day, but it's really just a reminder to just like keep on keeping on. More than anything. At least that's how I feel when I go to those events.
That's why I think Andrew and I instantly regretted not going. Because usually when we're getting like sidetracked, those events are what kind of push us back into the path. And that's kind of what we need right now. So we
Yeah,
regret not going, but it looked fun.
I know. When I get down in the dumps, not even down in the dumps, but like just not like completely fired up on real estate, which I think everybody has those periods. And I go to eXpCON. Ooh, boys, I can't help but have a smile on my face when I say the name eXpCON. Oh my god, I'm literally falling out of my chair thinking about
What
how
are we now? 137 or no, now 136 days away.
less 134 days away from robots dancing in your face in Vegas with music blasting, parties on the beach at Mandalay Bay. Boys, I'm telling
Wait,
you,
how do you know there's gonna be robots dancing?
there's
There was
always robots.
They had an
I
AI
must have missed
robot.
that one.
You could ask it anything.
Yeah, we have the EXP bot, and then we have those massive bots because EXP at those events, EXP to the moon. And so we're trying to be innovative. It's unbelievable event. And if you guys are listening to this right now, whether you're an EXP agent or not, get a damn ticket to eXpCON. You will learn something incredible. I guarantee it. You will get fired up about real estate and you will understand why EXP is the best brokerage. If you have any doubts of EXP being your broker, go to eXpCON. You'll change your mind. It's an unbelievable event. Lucas, you coming?
I'm there. Let's do
Let's
this.
go. Let's go. Let's go. Anyways, Lucas, how you been, man? Let's catch up real quick. Let's catch up. What's been going on in the world of Baghdaddy?
A lot of good things. A lot of good things. Probably the coolest one is this podcast.
Oh, whatever.
Seeing you guys all get together. It's really funny when we set up these podcasts, and I think that I love it because it's a reminder of like just go for it. Who cares? We didn't really even have a topic this morning, and so for us to just dive in and go for it, I think is the perfect message of the day to anyone listening. Whatever you weren't gonna start today or weren't gonna do, this is the day to start doing it. This is the call out to anyone listening. Other than that, everything's good. Produce business is on fire. You'll be seeing a lot more of me next to you, Drew and Jacob. We're going to be in the Gilbert side now, too, in Mesa side.
Let's go.
Other than that, real estate's been interesting. Still a lot of conversations with my sphere about, the people that haven't bought in yet. Still a little bit pushback, but like you said, Larry, that's good because now at least I can have a conversation with them, learn the pain points, and go from there. Other than that, I will tell you that I'm just hoping that most people are willing to that don't have a home are willing to learn about it, and that's another thing is I would come out a place of true education right now because I it's almost to me it's like owning a home is kind of like a way to protect yourself right now. It's your own bank. It's your way to know where your money's at. It instantly increases your net worth, even though you feel like you're spending all the money at the time. But the truth is, it's your way to level up. And right now is definitely a good time to be having those conversations with people. So a lot's been going on Lucas's end for sure.
Dude, you're so right. You're so right about the home ownership being your own bank. And for a lot of people, it's your retirement,
Yeah.
right? Your home is your biggest asset, and I love that. Um, Great to hear what's going on in the produce business, dude. I'll tell you what, the House Brasserie has been loving your green. They have been
Dude, that
loving it.
Shauna is actually the best. We need to eat more of her homemade ice cream. It's unbelievable.
For real.
Dude, we should all go in for a dinner sometime.
100%. That's 100% we should do.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah.
One night this week. Maybe even before basketball. What?
Whoa, we're getting crazy.
So, well, good deal. Now you said something in there that caught my attention. I was gonna go from catching up to talking to the local market, but I just made an executive move and switched that.
Love it.
You were talking about um, how you wish people would just dive in and just do something crazy because that's like the story of our life, right? We've all just dove into something and just figured it out as we went. Jacob and I have been on the edge of calling FSBOs and expireds, right? We've heard it our whole career. You got to call FSBOs, you got to call expireds. And my excuse was just, I don't do cold calls. I don't do cold calls. And we were talking with an agent friend of ours, Jace Pedro in Ames, Iowa. If you need a good agent, Jace Pedro. And he was like, you got to call FSBOs, you got to call expireds. And we were on a call with him, and he did a live one right there for us. And now he was like, okay, your turn. And he picked up a house off of Zillow, and he said, there you go, call that number. We called that number, $730,000 listing, FSBO. If you don't know what that means, for sale by owner. Guy answers the phone, had a terrible experience with his agent to begin with, had to fire his agent, now is trying to take it on by himself. He's 102 days on the market and desperately needing to sell this home, which is just right on the money. That's exactly what you want, because that shows he doesn't have a hatred for agents because he originally listed with one. He doesn't mind paying an agent because he originally listed with one. A lot of times that's what's drawing him back. So we go over to the house that day, have a good conversation with him. And here's the big thing. We didn't pitch him anything. We just went to go see the home. We didn't go there to say, well, if I was your listing agent, I would have done this. Didn't even mention it. Today we're gonna write up a handwritten letter with a gift card. We're gonna send it to him, and hopefully by the next time we're filming a podcast, we have a $730,000 listing in our pocket.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's what's going to make it interesting, is because it's a very unique approach to it, is because most agents will bring the papers ready to sign and they pitch why they should be an agent, but this approach is just going and helping them, like having a packet that's, what is it called?
the FSBO Survival Guide.
Yeah, the FSBO survival kit. So it's just all about going in and helping, and then not looking for anything in return, and just maybe they'll call back, maybe they won't.
Yeah, I mean, it's that simple. You go in and just wanting to give value for free in hopes that that value turns into not being free.
It was your first call.
It
It's
was the
very
first call,
is the very first call.
Mm-hmm.
So what systems are you guys using to call? Because I know you're probably going to get into it now.
Yeah.
Hey, are you talking about like a dialer?
Yeah, just like what are you using?
Right now, dude, we're just straight up going to Zillow, and in Zillow, you can filter out FSBOs, and so we're just calling people right off of the FSBO page. So
You know, I'll do you one even solid. When I worked in the title company, ask them for a FSBO list, and they'll hand those out to you all day.
Yeah.
yeah, and those lists are scrubbed too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's what we need. It's nice too on Zillow and the MLS, and you get a lot more information too, like how long it's been on the market and if they're willing to pay a buyer's agent. Because if they're willing to pay a buyer's agent, then they're willing to pay a listing agent.
Yeah,
for
So
sure.
you know that up front.
I love that you guys are throwing that in your business, because Justin Mercer, tattooed realtor, he said it best to us when we were there. He literally said, "It's free. It's something you can
Yeah.
easily do. Find the pain point, go from there." And he had the gnarly scripts too, dude. Him and Greg, that was incredible.
Yeah, and here's it. They are incredible, but they take a different approach than what our friend Jace taught us. Jace, his approach was simply, it's so friendly you wouldn't even think he's a realtor.
Yeah.
Like, he literally does not mention his business one time. And when I know it's close, I hope this is exactly right. 19 of his first 20 listings came from FSBOs and expireds.
Wow.
From using that method.
And I'd be happy to share kind of the script. It's not really even a script, but it's just like the processes of the conversation. And wow, it is money. So Larry, you were talking off air that this is something that you've thought about doing and implementing in your business. Give me some more detail on that.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes a ton of sense to add it, you know? Not that I would like make my whole business model any sort of like cold prospecting, but it makes sense to do it even an hour, 3 times weekly, maybe an hour a
Mhm.
day. Really what gave me that perspective is just like the volume of people who are doing it or have built their business on it, and the amount of times that it gets recommended, like over and over and over again, people talk about it,
Exactly.
and so I'm no different, I'm no better.
Yeah, and one thing I was nervous about was like this is probably the same in Florida, but there's 60,000 agents here who most of them are probably calling FSBOs and expired. So the first thing that I was nervous about was like calling them and they say you're the 10th realtor to call me at this point. But our first call that didn't happen. So
Well, that's a good point too, and it's like, how many people do you think are really doing it?
yeah.
Like I think it's rare, and I could be wrong, that like veteran agents are still dialing. I don't think they are. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't think they are.
Select few.
Yeah.
It's like door knocking. Door knocking is super successful, and the main reason for it is because nobody does it.
Yeah. That's true.
No, and you're exactly right. Like it's strange because that's like at least from my perspective, is like that's a very traditional way to build the business. I put cold calling and door knocking in the same category. But it's so traditional that nobody does it anymore. So it's like history repeats itself. Let's just get back into doing it, and if you take this approach that we have been discussing, who cares about the other two or three agents that have called him before, because we're not doing it the same way. I didn't come here. They don't care. If every agent is going to probably approach you the same way. So you need to be the one agent that goes to the house, doesn't ask for anything, doesn't ask about listing prices, doesn't ask about anything. You walk out, and that homeowner is going to be like, "Whoa, he didn't sell anything. Why?" And then, 5 days later after that meeting, you get a handwritten card in the mail that just says, "Thank you so much for your time. If there's anything that we can do for you, bada boom, bada bang, $10 Starbucks gift card, business cards, bam,
Wow.
done." Who do you think he's going to call? The two other agents that went up and said, "Well, I don't think it's listed right. I don't think the pricing is right. Or I love this home. We could do this." No, that's not his first call. Everybody calls like that.
Yeah, any means of like standing out and doing things differently
Yeah.
usually works.
That's why I'm excited to put this approach to the test and see what
Hell
happens.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jacob and I are in the process of like adding this to our schedule. And like we were saying, like even an hour a day, 3 or 4 days could be such a huge difference, because in an hour you could probably make let's just say you can have 5 conversations. That's 15 really solid leads a week, even if you just did it 3 days a week. You know how much it costs to get 15 solid realtor.com leads? Whew, $1,000.
$1,500.
Damn.
So yeah, we're pretty fired up about that, guys. We are really fired up about that, actually.
Love that. Hey, and if you ever call someone and they tell you you're the 10th realtor to call, just go, ding, 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 you win. Finally, you made it to the 10th realtor. Now we can actually figure out how to help you and get this shit done. Bada boom, bada bang.
Exactly. That's actually where did you
I
learn that?
just thought about it now.
That's
Some
that's a
some
patented
coffee
Lucas fact.
inspiration. Some
That's such
decaf
a
coffee inspiration.
that's such a good idea.
That actually is a really good idea. That's a great
Bro,
idea.
Dude, Lucas, you know what I would give to hear you make a cold call like that? And just any number, they say, "You're the seventh one that's called," and you go, "Ding, ding, ding, the seventh winner."
Yeah,
hoorah,
that's
you won.
Oh
Let's
such
my
a good
go.
god.
idea.
Oh my god.
They would
Dude,
have
next week, let's do live cold calls, and just with different scripts that nobody's ever tried
Oh,
or
so
heard.
down.
We actually should.
Guys, I'm
Like,
so
good
down.
idea. Not
I will-
even.
Let's do it.
Not
Lucas
even.
already found his.
Ding,
It's
ding,
the
ding.
ding ding ding. You're the winner.
Yeah. Lucas takes the game show
Yes,
approach.
bro. I'm a radio host. I'm just letting you know you get to sell your house with me now. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. Larry, I'm going to fire a hot question at you right now.
Do it.
Let's say I'm the homeowner. I'm FSBO. I'm having a hard time selling my house. And this is the $1 million question that new agents can never answer. Larry, what separates you from the 3 other agents that I just met with?
I mean, I think there's a couple ways you can go about that question. You have to think that like every agent is going to try to upfront separate themselves from the other agent. But
Yep.
I think they overextend themselves. A lot of times they will sell themselves before that question's even asked. So it's kind of like, well, what do you have, like what do you have to prove that you lead with this kind of thing? Like if I'm directly asked what sets me apart, I normally try to show them, and like social proof kind of goes a long way, when like I don't have to, prove it for myself, by me explaining what sets me apart. If I have video testimonial, if I have, any sort of data statistics from, market MLS stats, if I have, marketing material that has, proven to, yield certain results, bringing all of that helps. So like being like one step removed from yourself and showing that. I've also won, was that a listing? I don't remember, but one deal I won last year was just basically from explaining like my approach and like lifestyle as far as like, at the particular time I had closed out most of my business. And like, I think most agents want to be like, you should use me because everybody uses me and I have a ton of business. But I think you can leverage times when you don't have a ton of business and just be like, like, for example, like Andrew and Jacob, you guys work together a lot. And so like everybody should know that you get, the value of 2 agents versus 1, for the same cost, furthermore, explain to them like, usually like I carry a listing, inventory of X amount of listings right now. I don't have that. So like you have my undivided attention kind of thing, I want to deal basically just being like, hey, I don't have kids. I'm at the time I was single. I'm single. From 7:00 in the morning till 11:00 at night, I'm working. That's all I do. I mean, I eat and go to the gym and sleep, but like that was the truth for me at the time. Was like, that's my work hours. Is that good for you? Is that, knowing well enough that like, I mean, you have listing agents out there that never answer their phone, never return your call. Yeah. So
That dude, those are all solid. Those are all solid. And I think gosh, excuse me. I think the undivided attention part is so smart. And not many agents do that. Because that the people who can't answer that question are the people who don't have a bunch of business right now. Because they can't fall back on that. They can't fall back on they've been in the business for 10 years. They can't fall back on they have a huge database. Right? So how do you answer that question? You're hungry, you have undivided attention, and if you're lucky to have a partner like I have Jacob, then you get 2 for the price of 1. And how could you not want that deal?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are focused on like diminishing their value, cutting commission or, explaining that they will do X amount of things, put X amount of hours into it, rather than just being like, this is my price and this is my value. And it's actually more valuable to you. You have to add value to people I'm like the firm believer of like, if I'm not adding value, I'm stealing, and I don't want to take a listing, that I feel like I stole essentially,
Yeah. And another thing, while you're on that subject of price and you're talking about percentages, please, please, please. I was told this right away in the business, and thank God. Because when you have no money in real estate, you're willing to do a lot of things for money. But please, please, please do not become the Walmart of listing agents by taking a small percentage. Don't do it. You're messing up the entire industry. Larry, what's the lowest percentage that you'll go for a listing? Doesn't matter.
I mean, I charged my own mother and father 5% total, 2.5 and 2.5.
Okay, damn.
You want to hear a really good story? I'll tell you a really good story.
I didn't say we had to do that.
My father is an extremely old, grumpy Italian man. He's like 83. I had their property listed. He wanted it to go up at like 630. There was no way. I mean, it needed to be a 5 number to start. So it goes up. It goes up over the holiday times. It goes up last year in a time where like interest rates had doubled. Right, they were on their way to doubling from that 3 number to somewhere in the 6, and I think we're somewhere in the middle there, where interest rates are probably, if I had to guess, maybe like 5. So we're in a period in the market where it's like starting to cool down, or at least the signs of which were very, very apparent. All this was disclosed. He's an old mortgage broker, and he knows this. And I take the listing. Also, by the way, you're not going to take this advice because I didn't. I did it twice. But just like I just feel the need to have to say this. Don't ever represent family. I've done it 3 times now. And it's never worked out. I've gotten all 3 transactions done, but like, it's never been great for your personal relationship with the family. You've never come out on top as far as like what you make versus what you put in. And you just have, because they don't have any boundaries with you. They're just going to call you and harass you and talk to you how they've always talked to you, whatever that relationship may be. So we're like 4 or 5 months on market, and like my parents are ready to like kill one another. On one side you have my mom who's like, I don't care, just lower the price, let's get it done. This is more than we can handle, as far as the size of the house, and they were downsizers. And then my father, who's like, thinks he knows what he knows, has been in the business and wants to get the most, and like, so we finally, after an open house and a price drop, I get a buyer. This is the first offer, comes like months. Like I'm talking like 5 months into this listing. And like, how when you're sitting on market, you do a price drop, usually you don't get that full price. You don't get that, you come down from whatever, 575 to 560. Usually that offer doesn't come in at 560. They're like, oh, let's pick them while they're down. Well, This scenario, they came in very, very respectfully on the price. And I don't remember exactly what it was. And so my suggestion is, what?
Take the offer.
You should probably take this, and they didn't want to take it. So go back and forth. They decide, whatever, we'll take it, and get into escrow. And where the title company's going over, because it was cash too, so it was quick, So they're going over like Alta and like preliminary, like very quick after they accepted the offer. My dad looks at me and he calls me and he looks at some papers and he goes, Larry. He calls me Larry. He's like, it says here that there's $28,000 due in commission. And I go, yeah. And he goes, I'm not paying that. And by this time, 5-6 months later, I don't know how many hours, I've put into this, how many arguments I put into this. My response was just, Yeah, the fuck you are. You signed a paper. You signed paperwork months ago that said you're fucking paying that. And we hung up, and that was that.
And
And
he's
he
still
paid
your
it.
dad, right? That's incredible.
Yeah,
What a story.
yeah. It didn't. Thankfully, it didn't ruin the relationship.
I'm not paying this.
He goes, "I'm not paying that." I'm like, "Yeah, the fuck you are."
Yeah, I didn't do it for free. That's funny.
I don't know what he thought he was paying, but that was sticker shock.
That's incredible.
So
That's
yeah,
jokes.
5. I mean, 5's a good number, right? You feel like they're winning. You're not skipping out on the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Too
5
much.
is the sweet spot. Always go in with 6. Every seller is gonna say, "Oh, I had an agent that will do it for 4," and then you say, "Well, I'm better than that other agent, so I'm willing to do it for 5, but I'm not willing to do it for 4." And here's the thing: as a realtor, you can't forget we choose our business too. Like you don't have to be so hungry that you take every deal. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever turned down business? Did maybe even like the seller wasn't motivated? Like you go in there and they're like, "Yeah, we don't really need to sell it as long as it sells within the next year." You're like, "Oh, well, fuck this. Like, I need someone that's like, let's go. Let's push this thing to the wall. Let's price it right. Let's get it gone. Because I'm not willing to sit here for 6 months and juggle a wall for 6 months for what?"
Well,
Have you
yeah,
ever
you
turned
have
down
to
a deal?
evaluate who's actually in a situation having an issue that you can solve. Otherwise you go out of business. You can't just take everything.
Yeah.
You have to be able to turn down business, and that's a quality that most new agents don't have. You just are like grateful you have business, but like, you have to be able to turn down business because there's always better, more business around the corner when you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's how you get beat up as a new agent, right? You take on a listing. They don't care when it sells. They just want their cash, and then they price it over list price, and you know that going into it, but you don't have the balls to tell them. And then you get beat up, and you wonder why the listing expired, and you wonder why you got fired on your first listing, and why it's so hard because you didn't have motivated people.
I just wanna clear up there. That sounded really personal, but that did not happen to us. You
That
said
is
that
true.
like it happened to us.
Yeah, I did say.
Did?
No, it sounded like PTSD, but I swear that didn't happen to us. Our first listing, we sold it in a weekend, but um, it's funny. Yeah, thank you for clearing that up, Jacob. That did not happen to us, but it happens to a lot of people. That's funny. All right, hold on. I got to cough real quick. This is crazy, guys.
Oh,
So let's roll into the market then, since
Yep.
we're already kind of loosely talking about it.
I was just about to say that. Let's go into the market, boys. Lucas, what do you have to say? I haven't
You
heard
know
from
what?
you
This
much.
is a listening episode. I think you guys got a lot to say, and I got a lot to listen to today. Um, you know what? I don't have much to say about the market, except that the same thing that I said earlier. Just right now, a lot of the people that I talk to or working with are those first time home buyers, and it's really just been the education of why they need to be learning about this stuff, how they actually have a plan in place, um, of having a successful transaction that's going to actually level them up, that's not going to put them in a hole. I always think it's really fascinating learning about how much debt there is right now on credit cards, and how many people that have these amazing rates from the last year or so before it started to rise, how many people are going to lose that situation. So I guess right now is the same thing how you guys mentioned for the FSBO, adding value is, I think this is the time more than ever to just be throwing value as much as we can every person's way. Um, that's my kind of 2 cents on it.
I love it. Let's provide some freaking local value then. If you're listening in Arizona or Florida, This is perfect for you. But I will say, from what I hear when I talk to a lot of agents, whether you're in Maine or Iowa or Arizona or Florida, it seems like we're all kind of dealing with the same game for the most part, right? I mean, okay, if you're in a big city, it seems like we're dealing with the same game.
Mhm.
So, Jacob, tell me your perspective. What's been going on in the market in the last 6 to 8 months? What have you seen?
Last 6 to 8 months. I mean, like kind of what we said like months ago is we're excited about it for us to personally being newer in the business because now it becomes it's a skill based market. So that's where newer agents thrive.
Boom, skill based market. Let's
Mhm.
go. And we, from day one, are skill based agents for real. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that to be like braggy or anything like that. But the young people that get into this business because it was easy in the last 2 years, it was easy to make money, which is not wrong. Is not wrong. Anybody could come in and sell a home. It's pretty simple. But we were trained to be skill based agents. And so this market is exactly what we've been waiting for. So, from the agent's perspective, Jacob, you're saying it's a skill based market. And that's beautiful because it's going to trim the fat of this real estate market of the people who got in 2 years ago, did a transaction or two, bada boom, they're out of the business because they can't do anything now. Perfect. I love that. That's good from the realtor perspective. Larry, what are you seeing from like the transactional side, maybe more of a consumer's perspective?
Well, it's a matter of like, you know, diagnosing, somebody's particular situation. Um, Talk about a first time home buyer, right? I don't care what market you're in. It could be 15, 18, 19% interest, which like that was the reality at some point in time. I don't think in any of our lifetimes, but at one point in time it was, right?
Yeah, like the 70s.
If you don't own anything currently, still better to buy. 100%. It's always there, and if you're an agent listening to this, and I'm sure you have buyers that are fighting you on the fact that it's not because of interest rates, you should pick up the phone and you should call them and you should tell them that. Renting is never a better option than buying. um, People who have bought in the last 2 years, is it a good time to sell and re-enter the same market? I think if you're being ethical, um, I think you tell them no, right?
For sure.
Why trade in that 3-4% interest rate? Keep them in your pipeline and really serve them and help them. Now, that's just considering pretty regular standards of scenario, right? Like if there's something outlandish about the deal and they somehow got it at auction, or they somehow bought it off market and now it's got a ton of equity, or maybe you're in a market where things were super overinflated and you're a bit nervous that it's really going to collapse, which by the way, I'm not nervous at all that will happen in Florida.
No,
Or maybe
no,
you
not
bought a
true.
home and now you're switching to a particular townhome community where appreciation wasn't 100% over the last however many years. So, but yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to go back because a lot of the people listening right now may be renters themselves. Renting is 100% interest rate. So if you have a buyer that's a renter now, first time home buyer likely, and they're telling you about the interest rates, go ahead and ask them what the interest rate on their rent is. Ask them. Hopefully they know. Hopefully they know it's 100%. No, you're exactly right on that. You're exactly right too. From the realtor's perspective, right? Like we deal with agents all the time, or not agents. I'm sorry. People that come into our open house, right? And we're asking them like, what's your game plan? Why are you even here? Why are you even thinking the idea that you'd be searching for homes? Well, I don't know. We bought a house 2 years ago. Okay, what's your interest rate then? Because it's got to be pretty good. Oh, it's 2.5%. What are you doing? You got a 2.5% interest rate. That's a great perspective too, and I like that you said being ethical. Maybe tell them why would you trade that in? Like your 2.5% interest rate is so valuable in a market where the interest rates are 7. Now, that being said, there are some people that still want to trade that in. They want to punch that ticket because maybe that same person, maybe, I don't know, they can't use stairs anymore. They need something that's a single story, not a 2-story, and they're willing to pay the price for that. Or they need to get out of the location, or they're having kids, right? That kind of stuff does happen. So chase that, but remember to be ethical. Remember to put the client's needs first.
Definitely.
Beautiful. And as far as speed, by the way, goes in the market, any realtors, please text me. If you're listening to this, please text me where you are and what you've seen for speed in your market. But there was obviously a period, let's go back to like late time when that whole disease thing, I don't want to say it because it's going to mess up the algorithm on Spotify, but when that was going on, everything was very fast. Interest rates spiked, and then boom, it slowed down, and everything took a big push. It had a big break, and then in the last month, 2 months, Jacob and I know because we do open houses every weekend. Holy influx of buyers. For real, guys. We went months with having 2, 4, 6 people show up to our open houses. Boom. It's been like 20, 30 people at these open houses, guys. There are buyers ready to buy. People are tired of these interest rates and they're ready to freaking go. So if you're a realtor and you quit blaming the market. All I'm saying is there's buyers out there and there's people that want to sell. Go get yourself a damn buyer.
Boom.
And I rest my case there. Anything else you guys want to say?
No.
I think it was amazing.
That was a really good episode, guys.
Beautifully said by you three. And Lucas, I want to start doing videos on what you talked
Cool.
about in this episode with you about
Yeah.
educating like first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
That is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tune in next week, guys, because I'm serious. Later, Larry.
Any final thoughts?
We'll be back. I'm serious, guys. I am so down next week to do a live cold call. If everyone can do a live cold call on next week's podcast, that would be so badass.
I want to get Jace on to do it with us.
Oh, yeah. Let's get Jason. Let's get
We should
Jason
get
and do a
Greg,
live.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I tried to get Greg, and he never responded to my text. But
he might be busy.
no. I think I feel so bad because I know he's such a nice guy. I think I had the wrong number, which makes me look like the asshole because I told him, "Yo, come on the podcast." I said I'll text you.
Do you have his number? Or
No, I
you have
just
his number,
Instagram
right,
DM'd him.
Lucas?
Yeah, I need to DM him.
Okay. Yeah, we need to get them on. All right. Hell yeah,
Well,
boys.
So we'll just wrap up the show. Larry left, so I was gonna wait for him to come back, but it doesn't look like he's coming back. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We just hit 200 subscribers on YouTube.
Feels good. We appreciate
Feels
that.
incredible. Feels incredible. Our goal was to get 1,000 in the first year, and we are more than on track. We are more than on track to do that. So, guys, it means the world to us, seriously, to cross a goal like that, and we just want to keep growing, and we just want to keep providing information, whether it's from us or some of the top agents that the real estate market has ever even known. We're talking big name people that we got coming on this show. So thank you guys. Oh, Larry's back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for the support. Again, I'll say it one last time. If you don't mind favoriting this podcast on Apple, Spotify, subscribing on YouTube, and following the Instagram. If you want to do all those things, that'd be sweet. Just do one. Just do one for us. We appreciate that. So thank you guys so much. And without further ado,
Crush it.
crush it.
Baby.